Hey everybody, welcome to Bill Sky, the C++ guy. What we're going to do in this video is that we're going to set up our development environment on Linux. Now, why am I talking about Linux? Well, number one, Linux is probably, arguably, the most popular, most used operating system for developers. It is so easy to install tools. You don't have to buy anything. Everything is there. Everything is open source. It's a safe operating system. And arguably, but much more so, is it's also the operating system where most servers reside. Windows has a large server base too, but Linux and Unix are just huge in the server market. So it's really a good idea to get used to using Linux. And what I've got here is I've got a Linux running, a Mint Linux version 21 running in a VMware guest operating system. And that's how developers do it, right? They create multiple operating systems in their virtualization environment using VMware or VirtualBox or even Hyper-V on Windows. And they do their development there. That way it does not negatively affect their main operating system. They can always go back in time. They can do all kinds of stuff. So that's why Linux is so popular. That's why virtualization is so popular. If you take a look at my assembler language playlist on this same channel, you will actually find how to install VirtualBox, how to install Linux, how to install the tools that you need for more than just assembler language. So let's assume that you have a brand new Linux here on a virtualized operating system. You want to install everything you need for C++. So let's do it right now. So as I said, I have a Linux running here. The first thing you want to do, this is going to be so easy and so quick compared to Windows. I simply type sudo apt update. Sudo stands for super user do something. apt is our application packaging product tool. And update means update the catalogs. I type in my password. Oh, I think I typed that in wrong. It updates the catalogs. It downloads the software repository catalogs to your local computer, and then it goes ahead and allows you to enter in another command. Now, I could upgrade at this point, right? I could type sudo apt list upgradable, and this is kind of an older version of Mint Linux 21. There's a lot to be upgraded. You actually should do this, but I'm not going to do it because I want to get through this video in a reasonable amount of time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to install the development tools. And the way to do that is you say sudo apt install build essential. I will put these commands in the description of the video. It says I'm going to install 64 megabytes of additional disk space. Now, if you watch the Windows version of this, setting up the development tools, you had to go through. We're done. On Windows, it's just so much work. But on Linux, it's up and running. So I'm going to type gcc. All right, there you go. G++. There you go. LD is our linker. There you go. Unbelievable. If I want to install nasm for our assembler, you just do this, and you're done. That's it. You are done installing your stuff. It's so cool. Vim is a really nice editor, a command line editor, so I'm going to install Vim just like we did on Windows. And that's another video that I'm going to have sometime in the near future, is the use of Vim. So, and as I said, Vim is a command line editor. It's very, very popular with system administrators and developers. All right. I mean, that's it. That's the development tools. Now let's go ahead and install Eclipse. Now, Eclipse is going to be almost identical to installing it on Windows. So I'm going to go to eclipse.org. I'm going to click download. I'm going to go down here and download click the download packages link. I'm going to download the Eclipse IDE for Java developers, and I'm going to click on the x86-64 Linux. And it's going to go ahead and download it. Oh, I got to click the download button. It's not going to download it until I click that download button. And then it's going to download it. Now, once it's done downloading, just like on Windows, it's going to be a zip file. But on Linux, that's very easy to do. So I'm going to close the browser. I'm going to double click on my home folder, double click on downloads, and there's Eclipse. I'm going to double click on it. Now it's not a zip file on Linux. It's a tar compressed GZ file. So I went ahead and I opened it up. I'm going to go to Linux user. I'm just going to drag it into Linux user. So I'm just going to drag this folder after double clicking the tar file. I'm going to just drag it to my home folder. And that is it. It's unbelievably quick. So I'm going to double click on Eclipse. I'm going to double click on the Eclipse application. Now I may have to enable this for running. Let's see what happens when I double click it. Yep, up and that's it. Unbelievably simple. All right, I'm going to launch it. Now we still have to install the C++ support, so let's do that real quick. And as I did on Windows, I'm going to go up to Window, Preferences. I'm going to turn off Always Run in Background, click Apply and Close. It asked me to donate. I already donate, but it still pesters me. I'm going to say Help, Install New Software. I'm going to drop down the Work With, click All Available Sites. Once it gets done downloading all the available sites, I'm going to go and expand programming languages, and then we're just going to install the C and C++. So there's programming languages, there's the C and C++. Next. Next. Agree. And as we did in Windows, we'll go ahead and install the Easy Shell as well from the Eclipse Marketplace. That's a great little tool to allow you to right-click on something in the Eclipse Explorer and open it up in a terminal or even on a folder. It's really neat. And during the course of this course, I will show you how to use that. But right now, we're just going to do installation. So go ahead and let the installation complete. Okay, when the installation of the C and C++ is done, I don't like to click Restart now because I've got something else to install. So I'm going to click No. I'm going to go up to Help, Eclipse Marketplace. Up in the Find field, I'm going to type Easy Shell. I'm going to click on the Install for Easy Shell. I'm going to click I accept, Finish. It's going to ask me, do I trust everybody? I'm going to select all, trust the selected. I'm going to click select all again, trust it again, and that's it. So let's go ahead and close Eclipse. There's our Eclipse right there. Double click on Eclipse. Don't double click on the icon. It's kind of misleading. Now the Eclipse workspace is where all of your projects are going to be stored. I just use the default, and if you take a look at your home folder, you should see an Eclipse workspace folder. All right, so let's create our very first Eclipse application. I'm going to click the workbench up on the top right. Just like on Windows, File, New, Project, or Project Other. Or I could select Project ... It asks me what kind of a project I want. I expand C and C++. Click C++ next. I'm going to give it a name, my first CPP. As I said in Windows, spaces are a bad idea in files and project names. You can use underscores, or you can use this thing called camel case, which means that the first... Oh, my Linux is asking me to do something. I'm going to do that later. Camel case means the first letter of every word is capitalized and all the other letters in that word are lowercase. I'm going to click Hello World, Linux GCC. A little bit different than Windows. Click Next. There's your copyright stuff. Click Next. I leave that all alone. And just like on Windows, are we going to have both a debug version and a release version? As you're learning, I turn off release because it just makes life easier. However, if you're actually going to be releasing a product, have both of those on. The debug version is going to be a larger executable. It's going to be a little bit slower. The release version is going to be more optimized, and that's the one that you give your customers. So I'm going to click Finish. So I turned off release. I'm going to click Finish. I'm going to open the C++ perspective, and there's my first C++ program. I'm going to build it by clicking that little hammer. Just like on Windows, you can see we've got our G++ for the compiler. We've got our G++ as the linker as well. And then I can run it by clicking inside the source code. I'm going to click run, and it worked. I mean, wow, how simple. Now, you can also download and install Visual Studio Code in this Linux. I'm not going to reproduce everything I did in the Windows video, so go look at the Windows video, and there's going to be chapter marks, and one of the chapter marks is installing Visual Studio Code. It's exactly the same process. Go ahead and install it if you want to use Visual Studio Code. Hope to see you at our next video.